Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew, and tonight I have a super special guest, which I was recently just on their channel for Simply Defend, Joshua Mason. He's a seasoned cybersecurity leader, educator, and evangelist with over a decade of experience spanning offense and defense operations, security engineering, and cyber education. He currently serves as a federal solutions architect at Synack, where he helps government clients adopt, innovate approaches to vulnerability management and continuous security testing through crowdsourced penetration testing platforms. Josh is also the host of Simply Defense podcast, or co-host, where he breaks down complex security challenges and explores emerging trends with industry experts. In parallel, he continues to educate and mentor the next generation of cybersecurity professionals as an adjunct professor at Anne Arundel Community College and cohort mentor with Ericius Security. I hopefully said that right.
Ericius
Security.
Sounds a weird one. And it's Anne Arundel.
Anne Arundel. Words mean to this team, and I appreciate you, channel, for laughing at my mistakes. Previously, Josh has held senior roles in cyber range, arbiter security, and SimSpace, leading sales engineering teams and building cybersecurity training platforms focused on threat enumeration, security development, and incident response. He's the founder of Mason SC, a consulting dedication to delivering scalable security training and IT solutions to both commercial and federal clients. A veteran of the U.S. Air Force, Josh transitioned from flying C-130s as an aircraft commander to leading cyber warfare operations and instructions with Department of Defense. He brings a mission-focused mindset to every engagement and has proven track record of aligning cybersecurity strategies and national security objectives. Josh, quite the read through as I get through all of your accomplishments. Very happy to have you here on the channel.
Thanks. It's interesting to see what ChatGPT makes my LinkedIn page.
It's weird. It's a love-hate with ChatGPT when it says make me a speaker bio. And
oh yeah.
It does, I think, a decent
I've done the same thing.
job. So,
like any talks I've done, I have to submit a bio. Even companies wanted a bio, and that's exactly what I've done.
it hits the spot. So, well, Josh, as many people come to this channel and kind of get to talk on and what they're looking for of how to break into cyber, we'll hit you with our first question. So, obviously, cybersecurity is not the role that everyone wakes up in the morning with their kid or goes into their kindergarten classes. What do you want to be when you grow up, Josh? I want to be a cybersecurity specialist, or I want to work inside architecture and do solutions. Some people say firefighter, some people say nurse, some people say lawyer. What kind of got you into, and especially with your military background, being a pilot from flying C-130s, what got you kind of going the other direction to say, you know what, flying was cool. I don't want to go be a pilot. I want to get into cybersecurity. Yeah.
I'm rather candid about this, because I think it's valuable not to sugarcoat it. I got out of flying because I started treating my mental health, and
awesome.
The Air Force alongside the FAA prefer their pilots to not treat their mental health. So started doing that, and I could no longer fly, but I still owed time as a officer in the Air Force from pilot training specifically, and was given a list of jobs that were in need in the Air Force, and ranked the top 3 and sent it back to them out of the 4 that they sent me. And so my top choices were space, contracting, and intel. And so they gave me cyber. So I went to cyber school, learned how to do subnetting, learned a bunch of baby IT and cyber stuff. Got my Sec Plus, and then went to Hurlburt Field and was a flight commander at the 1st Special Operations Communications Squadron. And there we had 7,000 endpoints, 7 different types of networks, from Nipper, AFNet Nipper, SoftNet Nipper, a bunch of different networks that people will have to use across the base. So you actually end up with tens of thousands of accounts and a lot of connectivity stuff. So it was a lot of fun. It was very interesting. And then when I got out of the Air Force, I wanted to be a project manager. I've got my degree at MBA in aviation, and was looking to go to a Boeing or Lockheed or Northrop and just make Gantt charts and track the process of building the next plane, missile, whatever. And someone convinced me, they're like, Josh, you've got a Sec Plus and a top secret TSSCI. You can make money doing that. And so moved up to Maryland, and they were right.
And so first off, Josh, thank you for your service. And just to reiterate, because I think this is also very important still with myself still being in the military, and to any veterans watching this, mental health is huge. It is not something you should push away or to be like ashamed about. I just had a soldier that was going through course recently in Cyber Command over in our cyber, and he was having some mental stress. And I told him, like, hey, man, you need to just go talk to mental health. Like, nah, man, I only have 3 weeks left here. Then I can just put it behind me. I'm like, no, man, go talk to mental health. He had a 4-day weekend. I'm like, dude, it ain't going to affect your drill time. You really don't have to tell anyone about it unless you really want to get your command involved. You can go do your own thing and just go see mental health. But had him go talk to mental health like on a Friday. He hung out there for just the day. He was good for the weekend, but he reached back out. He reached back out to me that following week. He's like, hey, man, really appreciate you having me, forcing me to go do that. I told him, like, hey, man, you need to go do this. I'm like, just as a friend, he's in my unit with me. But yeah, that's a huge thing. I definitely don't want to push that aside because that alone is a huge, I'm very passionate about that as well when it comes to mental health in the service, outside the service, anyone in the field, and we'll get into this on our conversations as well, like alert fatigue's a real thing, burnout's a real thing. And your mental health inside this industry, people are so excited to get into cyber. There's a lot of things that come with cyber. There's 24-hour operations. There's working third shift. There's getting put on call. There's bashing your head against the wall because a script you're writing doesn't work, or you get stuck on something where you don't know where to go next. And you're spending hours on that. And sometimes you got to take a step back, go on a quick 5-minute walk if you can, if you have that ability, if it's not like an incident response kind of situation or imminent threat that, like, you know what, I need to step away from this for 5 minutes, clear my head, maybe do a walk around the building if you're working in office, or walk around the neighborhood if you're working remote, and just get yourself into a better mindset, because you're going to run into a lot of headbangers working in this industry, no matter what level of the industry. If you're level 1 or if you're a CISO, you're going to come into a lot of mental health, like just mind-numbing days. So,
and there's a lot. There's a lot that I've worked on myself. There's a mindset of the plane's not on fire. Nobody's going to, like, the plane's not going to crash. Nobody's going to die. We can slow down and we don't have to freak out.
Yeah.
Even if you're in an incident response, like, take a breath. Being calm and collected is going to be more helpful than being frenetic and in like that fight or flight adrenaline rush the whole time. So, I've done plenty of emergency procedure sims where you're in the simulator and you've got smoke and fumes, you're wearing your mask. They tell you, like, one engine's on fire that you just put out, the other engine just stopped working. Fortunately, it's C-130, especially the J model. It's a 2-engine aircraft with 2 spares. But yeah, then you find out, like, the load in the back is on fire and you got to figure out, well, how do I fix that one? You just fly over, East Georgia and throw it out the back. That's what I always did in those. Maybe it'll land on an army base. No one cares about that.
Hey. We try to play nice Air Force and Army. I always told myself, if I could go back and talk to 17-and-a-half-year-old Andrew Karate and say, hey, bro, if you're going to join the military, you should really check out the Air Force. But I was so young and dumb, like, oh, man, they showed me the military police recruiter video. I'm like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. And then I
that's what the Army needs. That's what they live on. That's what they require.
Yep, those videos will catch you. The moral of the story is social engineering is a real thing, everybody. Make sure you're really, really watching those videos. But Josh, so Sec Plus, education, certifications, experience. So all three go hand in hand when getting into the industry. And obviously a lot of things that a lot of folks that are breaking into this field kind of come into on headache wise, going up against that interview is they get that rejection spot. Hey, you know what? You feel like you had the information, but you lack the experience. What would you recommend to some folks that are getting that feedback when they get to that interview portion of what are some things they can kind of improve upon? I know I always recommend a lot of the instances, try Hack Me, Hack the Box, building out a GitHub, Stack Overflow, showing the work you're doing, bragging about it on LinkedIn. Tyler Ramsby's, make a YouTube, show them that you're actually doing the stuff and just show it off on YouTube. Hey, look, I can do this. I may not have the certifications. What are your thoughts?
That right there. You just said all the things that are That and then network, help people. There's a lot of folks when they hear that guidance, they're like, well, but I don't just want to highlight me, or like, I don't want to be an influencer. It's like, yeah, I get that. Don't do that. Like, the reason we tune into like Tyler, or that people tune into Tyler, is because he's going to walk you through how to do the job. He's a pen tester all day, and then he's going to walk you through a try hack me room with the mindset of what he does in his daily work. So you can, like, audience, not just entertain, not just like infotainment, or edutainment, whatever. It's so that you can apply it. And often he does it at a pace where you can pull up the try hack me room and go alongside, open up your own VM and ask questions. And does that help him get things? For sure. But most of the folks who are doing stuff like that, Gerald Ozier, Neil Bridges, Tyler, InfoSec Pat, KevTech, not doing it for themselves, they're doing it to help other people. The bonus is you do stuff like that. Philip Wiley, good friend of mine, he got let go from his job a few months ago. He's been speaking at conferences. He's got the book. He's been helping people get started in pen testing for a while. And because of that, he's well known and well respected. And he's gotten most of his jobs, not because of what he does, but because people know and respect him. And frankly, that can be the best currency in this industry, is being known and being respected. Frankly, that'll get you into more interviews than having a great resume.
Yeah, networking is huge. I know some people talk about, I mean, most IT people, you look at the IT industry and like people that work inside the field, there's a lot of recluses. I'm a very much an extroverted IT guy. I like to talk to people. I'm very chatty Cathy. People say I have a Tigger personality from Winnie the Pooh. And it's always funny that when I worked at the state of Arizona, that my nickname was Tigger, because I had such energy all the time wherever I was. When I went to conferences, when I talked to people, my passion behind working in cybersecurity and my background as a law enforcement officer making that pivot, I was just excited to get into I'm like, man, I'm doing it. I made my pivot. I'm in this new career. I'm like, why wouldn't I be happy? And I mean, even with the stressful days, those stressful days were so enjoyable to me, because it's like, it was a different type of stress I was putting on my body and on my mind rather than on my back, having to fight criminals, long third shift night hours, having to write reports and then get home at 2:00 in the morning, compared to working in cybersecurity work. There's a different mental stress that comes with that, but it was just a nice break. But
yeah.
But speaking of networking, like obviously we see all the badges on your wall, and I don't think you have any of your stickers, but there's also tons of stickers that come with going to cons. When it comes to attending conferences, and I know we were just talking about, for everyone that hasn't ever been to DEF CON, is a huge hacker convention conference they have in Vegas every year. I don't know, can we talk about the new room? It's official, yeah. Right? So yeah. There's a new room that's coming to the conference called New Village, which you are actually kind of running or putting together. Can you maybe talk about that a little bit? And then also just talk about when it comes to maybe, I don't want to say how to network at conferences, but some people have a really hard time like getting to talk to people. What would be your thoughts and recommendations?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I actually just got Google Photos reminding me last year I was at HackSpaceCon this last weekend. And I've only been doing conferences for 3 years now. Like, this upcoming DEF CON is going to be my third DEF CON ever. So a few years ago, even before I had made it to DEF CON, Neil Bridges, who's a friend and has been helping people in cybersecurity for a long time, great guy, on one of his live streams, he mentioned that he doesn't really like DEF CON because he feels like unless you're really interested in a specific thing that's going on, like if you want to get into car hacking, that's awesome. If you want to get like bad light, that's awesome. There's a lot of really cool, awesome stuff. But if it's like not your vibe, it can be hard to figure out what's going on there or what to connect on and all of that. And so like, I was like, well, what if there was like a central repository or like a starting place, a place that was focused on just accepting people who are like new, like you got that glassed over look where you're like, what do I go to? Because I know I've had that.
I also had that look. It's a kid in a candy store. I'm like, there's so much to do.
More, I was overwhelmed. I'm autistic. And I mask really well, and can put on a face. And then like, I run out of spoons, or run out of batteries, and then I change. But I've been volunteering. I've been doing, podcasts and running a bunch of stuff and volunteering my whole life. So I'm happy to be part of stuff, but I also have felt that of what do I do? My first, convention was Wild West Hiking Fest, way west in San Diego, where I met Wade and Blake and a bunch of friends now. When I showed up there, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. I was there to do a workshop on resumes and mock interviews. And other than that, I didn't go to any other talks. I didn't do the CTF. I only hung out with people like at night, after like the workshop was done. And that worked out for me. The way I found people was I went to where the volunteers were hanging out at the end of the day. I was like, hey, how are you guys doing? Anything I can do to help? Set up for the next day or whatnot. Like, no, we're good, but we're going to go get food. That's how I made some of my best friends. And since then, I haven't been at a conference where I wasn't speaking or volunteering or running things. And for me, that's been super helpful. I think this weekend I'm going to B-Sides Charm. It's probably going to be the first conference I'm going to where I'm not volunteering, selling something. Like I was just at a conference for work, Sierra Space, big Navy conference out here.
Nice.
But that was for Synack, like trying to sell pen tests as a service. That's different. But this one's just going to be to go and meet people and enjoy things. It's actually my first time doing just that. If someone wants to get into cyber, take advantage of the conferences. Sometimes like a B-Sides are like $20-$30, not bad. And often there's like a low tier and then $10 more to get a shirt. And that can be a great way to meet folks in the industry, to start that networking on a real light version. Joining communities like Simply Cyber, tuning into Tyler or Amsby and being part of the Hack Smarter community.
Yep.
Or any of those. Great way to get to know people. Wade did his how to join a cult talk at the end of Wild West Hiking Fest this last year. And he shared that he had been going to meetups and a lot of local things and didn't really participate for a while, and then finally did. Now he's been running B-Sides San Diego alongside the other board members, but and very invested in the community, volunteering here and there, teaching classes, all that. But it kind of starts with making the decision to participate. And one thing I hear from a lot of people is, well, I don't know what to do, or I don't know enough. Something I learned early on, if you know anything, you now know more than the person who knows nothing.
Yeah.
I tutored and helped out a lot when I was going through cyber school. My dad was a network engineer. A lot of the stuff came to me fast. I learned a lot of great study techniques when I was flying, and frankly, figuring out how to set up subnetting on routers. It's like you have the checklist, just run through it, like with all your Cisco commands. It's fairly straightforward. People are like, how do you do it? Like, well, this is where my mindset's at. Like, this is easy, makes sense for me. Like, this works great for my mind. So I doubled down on that and helped my classmates. That just enforced, what I already knew. And it was a way to help out and give back. Some of the stuff I've done on my channel, even that mock interview and resume review stuff, not an expert. I've just seen a lot of it. I'm passing along the information that I've gathered, things that I've talked to people about. And is it the best? No, but no one else was there to give that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to help fill a gap and help out where I can. Don't claim to be an expert, but trying to be helpful. And frankly, that's all people have to do.
Yeah. I think so many people have, even when I was very lucky with same thing with my military time. When I made my transition into cybersecurity, I made the pivot with the military of how I leveraged to get into the field. So I moved even to a cyber protection team, but I moved in as an all source analyst, which at the time I was a cyber threat intel analyst. So I was pretty much doing threat intel. So our CPT was still IR response. So we had to go out to an incident. Depending on the region or the event we'd be going to, there might be a certain threat actor or an APT that would be targeting the place we're at. And there's, hey, Andy, you and the other analysts are going to go grab all the IOCs, grab the information, see what TTPs we can find, tactics, techniques, and procedures, and see if we can correlate this to a specific group, Russia, Iran, North Korea, hacktivist group, and see if we can find any patterns. And then you're going to give that to our hunt team, and then we're going to go hunt. And so that's kind of how I got my interest in cyber. I'm like, man, this is kind of cool. And then I'm like, well, I want to do more than just grab the IOCs and like find the threat actors, which is great because I'm like getting all that pieces of information, the cyber kill chain, diamond model, and using MITRE ATT&CK and MITRE Navigator to like layer across like environments saying, hey, here's what you guys are really strength and strong on for what you're looking for on ruling. Here's the stuff you're really missing completely, that this is all going across your network and you have no detections to really see it. So you're just you're blind to it. And then I became a warrant officer into the cyber warfare operator, now is the title of it, but it's 170 Alpha. And now I get to do the hunt. But same thing, like you said, on giving back, we actually, another red teamer from Synack, Trent Darrow, he was in our class. And when we got to our security part, if you're not doing pen testing, I think on a day-to-day basis, or like you have a strong background in it, getting into it can be a little difficult. So, but with Trent, he was that was his day job. He's been doing pen testing for years, and he would do exactly that. He'd take all of his notes, he'd share it with us throughout the whole day, and he helped you one-on-ones with folks who needed more assistance with it to walk through. And it's such a nice feeling. It's just like, yeah, you just want to see people be successful. And I think just like you said, in this industry, networking has such a huge foundation that I think is such an unseen, really treasure if you can get like a good network and just talk to people and they get to know who you are. Because I think 99.9% of managers rather hire someone that's passionate, responsible, willing to learn, wanting to learn, rather than someone like, look, I'm just looking for a 9-to-5 job because I need a new job, or I'm trying to pivot, my work's getting too overwhelming and I kind of want to do something more low pace. Because I think you and I can both agree, Josh, like most of the entry-level positions and maybe even some junior positions, they can be taught into. You can train, and most organizations have onboarding processes. My last work, I think, was like a 4-month onboarding process for in the dev environment, then getting onto like the actual environment. I mean, it's not hard, but it's just getting in is hard. Yeah.
And you and I have the benefit of being used to the military, where they expect everyone to show up not knowing anything.
Yep.
Period. Like, yeah, you don't hire like your new private, your new airman, your second lieutenant. They don't know anything. Period. Dot. Whatever they do before, you would just expect they don't know anything. They blow you away. That'll work for them. But everyone expects the new person to show up needing their hand to be held, needing a process to teach them things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think in industry, you don't see that as much. And people expect, I've got tasks that need to be filled. I need someone who can sit down and knock out those tasks. And that's what everyone who's trying to get into cyber without the military having that expectation faces a lot of those prejudices of,
definitely,
I need someone to fill this sock slot, and I don't have someone who can train them and like body double because we've got an opening and it's got to be filled.
Yeah.
And that's it's hard.
Yeah. Teams are already short enough, or they don't have a trainer that can like, hey, we're going to take one of our senior analysts that's like a rock star closing 25, 50 cases a day. Like if we take them off the batting lineup, now we're going to be down one whole rockstar analyst just to train someone up, where it's like, hey, can they shadow? Can they kind of pick it up on the fly? And I've seen both those processes of when it comes to training,
Mhm.
it can go one of two ways. One, the person will flounder because it's very much drinking from a fire hose, and it's just very overwhelming. Or two, they somewhat pick it up enough to be a master of many kind of thing. And then once you can kind of pick up the baseline, and then they can start to refine,
And I think that there's things that can be done without losing resources, but organizations don't necessarily think that way. Like you don't take like an E5 and have them spend their whole time sitting with the E2 to get them to do their job. You have an E4 sit with the E2, get them going, get them started, and then sit nearby. You do your work, they do their work, and then they can ping you if they need it. And then, someone higher comes along and double checks, and there's someone on top managing. But that's a process that the military has been doing for centuries. But in industry, the idea is, Brent over here, the hotshot, is going to have to spend all of his time training a new person. And that's not how it really works. Yeah. But it's hard to convince people to, or show people how to do it if they haven't seen it.
Yeah. Would you, when it comes into like breaking into the field, what would be the most important thing you think right now that's, if you could go back maybe before or after your military time of like, I know our stories are different because we both leveraged the military to get in, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like, I always told myself, if I didn't go into the military and I was transitioning from law enforcement, and I kind of already said it, but like, if I had to go back in time and say, hey, this is what I would do, what piece of advice would you tell someone like to really focus on, like, hey, first things first, this is what you should do?
Yeah. It kind of depends on what they want to get into.
We'll say SOC analyst. We'll keep it.
SOC analyst, I think is, yeah, that's, I think where people have the best chance of getting in. What I would plan for myself. So I don't think people plan this enough. I wanted to be an Air Force pilot. I wanted to be a fighter pilot when I was 14. And I knew, okay, in order to do that, the best bet is I need to get to pilot training. The best way to get to pilot training, you can do, ROTC, OTS, or Air Force Academy. Your best chances of getting a pilot training spot are going to go from the Air Force Academy, just because they get more spots. Well, that's a pain in the ass to get to. How do you get there? We have to be competitive in high school. And where I was already a year into high school, is now looking super competitive for that. But I knew that was the route I wanted to go. I tried. I did like AP classes and calc before graduating, but I didn't even get in that first year. I went to prep school and community college for a year and then went to the Air Force Academy. But it was all between the time of I want to become a pilot to having the sitting in a C-130. It was from 2001 to 2011. It was a 10-year plan. That was kind of a big one. I didn't even end up in a fighter jet. I ended up in a C-130 because life happens. And my wife and I both flew C-130s and a whole other story. Yeah. But
next time, episode 2. No shit. That's Josh.
Or if I'm at a conference, I tell stories like these all the time. Or join the New Village Discord, and I might just be hanging out in voice chat while playing some Assassin's Creed.
Good game.
Yeah. And so people think about like SOC analysts. They're like, oh, that's an entry level job. Yeah, but so is second lieutenant co-pilot. That's an entry level job.
Yeah.
But I planned out for 10 years with like degrees and backup plans and joining the military. Like there's a lot that went into it. If someone wants to become a SOC analyst, don't expect it to happen next month. You got to get real, like depending on where your skills are, what you're at, how much you understand already, set your expectations for spending real time studying it and mastering it so that you can get in there. Even entry level chefs have to go to chef school. and be good and then compete and interview to try to get a job. So like SOC analyst is the same way. So there's degree programs. They're iffy. In my mind, having a degree versus not having a degree. If you like, do I care? No. Does HR care? And does the hiring manager care? Well, if it's two people who otherwise look the exact same and one has a degree and one doesn't.
Yeah, they're going to grab the...
Who do you think they're going to pick?
Yeah. I call that get the HR algorithm. So when it was like the certifications in education, it's making it through. It's like, I can't remember what I've talked to a few managers now. It's like
ATS.
Yeah, ATS.
Applicant tracking system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same with your resume and having certs. How can you get more points in the applicant tracking system? Because a lot of them will set up with, these are the requirements. Depending on the resume coming in, it will rank based off of how many of things already match, which is why I think you take the job description, you take your resume and you go, like ChatGPT, I want descriptions of the things that I've done in the language of this job description.
Yeah.
You don't want to like steal things, but like if you've done it, but your language is different than their language, use their language.
Yeah, I've leveraged enhancing my resume. Like, hey, like make these bullets. Like, here's all my experience. Here's the job recommendation.
Yeah.
Does my skills and things I've done or completed and my certifications. I almost train up and like we can totally talk AI, but that could be a whole nother hour. But it's like you can like I pay for my ChatGPT. So like I've trained mine like, hey, look, this is me, this is my experience, this is what I know. Here's the certifications I've done. So when I ask you a question, I want you to give it to me as if you're answering it from my perspective with my 8 years of experience. Now, when I want a deviation of that, I have different kind of like personas of my ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, now I add this like to a 20-year veteran that's done this X many times, and this is the process. And still just rephrasing and prompting that has gotten me, and same thing, always proofread your prompts and make sure whatever it's giving back to you is legitimate. But it does exactly that, and it'll feed you in and rephrase things exactly. Like, yep, I have done that, and that is hitting what the job X is requiring.
I call my $20 a month intern, and it does amazing work for $20 a month. But if I call my $20 a month intern, then I also look at the value of what it is and think of it as an intern, or I should not trust its output. It'll come up with the greatest bullshit. And to put it in terms for those who are in the military, think of it like your second lieutenant. Like, wow, that's beautiful. It's bullshit and it's wrong, but it's beautiful.
I think of the PNN, Private News Network. It's just like, it's a great story, but is it real? It's like,
So like it can do some really great stuff, but you shouldn't trust it with the thing that you're going to turn in. You should, cool ideas. Let me see what I can do from that. And if someone's using it, that's how I recommend it.
Yeah.
And you should be using it because gosh, it's so much faster than like Googling around and reading a bunch of stuff yourself. Have you tried out the deep research on like ChatGPT or Gemini?
Not yet. I've pivoted to Gemini a few different times, and I still just like ChatGPT better. I don't know why.
Yeah,
and it's probably just because I'm used. I like to think I do.
They work differently.
Yeah, I feel like I do a decent job at my prompting regardless. So like I usually get the similar answer I need from both. But if I want to double check things, if I want to just do more research on it, sometimes I will, but not too often. No.
Recently, they've come up with deep research where it will do Google searches and read through websites and then reanalyze and then do more research and go to new sites and like the links from those sites and put together like a whole analysis of what you ask it. And that can be, it can be crazy how I use it for a lot. Like, what does USAID do? / what does their tech stack look like, and have they been part of any vulnerability management program? Things like that. Because you can Google Dorks a lot and see if someone's dropped something, but gosh, it does a really great job. Will it tell me anything? And incredibly, it did. it's surprising what companies and agencies post on their websites about their updates. Anyways, it can be really helpful if you're working on your resume, using it to give you ideas. I always like the what I stole from Neil. What, so what, now what for bullets? Like in job experience, don't just post like, I was a barista at Starbucks. I gave people coffee. I cleaned the floors, like cleaned the bathrooms, and sometimes I'd change out the signs. Like, okay, yeah. If you told me you were at Starbucks, that's what I expect. Instead, why does what you did there help you with this job?
So
like great customer experience. Like maybe there's a bullet in the job description for that. So let's steal that. Customer experience. Handled so many customers every single day with this sort of feedback from my my management. Maybe employee of the month X many times for customer service or customer service award, and then the so what? So what? Why do you care?
Yeah.
So excellent at connecting and empathizing with customer needs.
So you'll know this remembrance of this, and those that aren't in the military. So we have things when you being an officer, and when I was an NCO and now an officer, our NCOERs and OERs are officer evaluation reports. Think of them, for those watching the channel, think of those like your mid-year and maybe like yearly evaluations. Ideally, it's a mid-year you get every 6 months or every year. So it's always did X accomplish Y? Like I did this number of things that accomplished. Like I was safeguarded over $2 million worth of equipment to establish transport to X number of bases, which by doing so completed a project management of 200% success, because blah 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 blah. But yeah, it's
action, outcome, impact.
Exactly. So it's like having those little things inside your resume. I think one, as long as you're also tailoring those to the job rec, and then showing that, like just like you said, like rather than like, yeah, I made drinks and I told customers have a great day, thanks for coming to Starbucks. Rephrase it and implement those little things inside your resume. It gives you that one up when you're competing with someone that has the same or similar skill sets.
And it's, well, there's so many things that you did in your day. Highlight the things that matter to them. And they tell you what they care about. It's in the job description. If it's not in the job description, it shouldn't be in your resume.
Exactly.
Because, yeah, even going from like a SOC 1 to a SOC 3, it's like, okay, well, why? Why do I care about what you did as a SOC 1? I can picture all the things that you did. You handled alerts, all this. You escalated. Great. What in there tells me that you should be a SOC 3 or that you should be a threat hunter, that you should be handling like incidents? And so like those are the things, because they probably happened. You walked an incident from showing up to all the way through success.
Yeah.
Or you saw an alert and that led you on a hunt, and you escalated that and then found out and saw well where else it was in the network. Those are the points that you need to talk about to say why you should be in this next job.
Yeah. And I talked about it on your channel too, that having the soft skills and being able to storytell and being able to document, and technical writers are such a diamond in the rough and a rare occasion. If you are a writing major, or and you're also a tech savvy guy or gal, and you can document and break things down Barney style to where you could give your grandma or someone that's not in cyber, hey, grandma, work this case from start to finish. Here's all my notes. And they can do that. You are a gold mine to any organization you can get yourself in front of for an interview. And as long as you can sell those points, because also, and Josh can probably 100% agree with me on this, you'll get to some organizations and you'll look for SOPs or processes, and sometimes they just don't exist. It's all tribal knowledge. It's all, well, this is just how we've always done things. And when I hear those things, it's not that I cringe. I just sometimes wish, like, why isn't it documented though? Because if it's such a reoccurring thing we're going to constantly see, why not have at least an established baseline to where that's gonna speed up MTTRs, your mean times to respond and mean times to acknowledge, to close these things out. That's going to make your higher up customers happy. That's going to speed up your analysts. That's going to give them at least a templated baseline rather than having to just jump down the rabbit hole to now go down like a nosedive. Like, well, I gotta go until I hit the bottom until I can figure out what I'm seeing. And having those little things, I think, and those SOPs are huge.
Yeah. I think back to the original question of what would I do?
Sometimes we go on rants. I know. I don't know where we kind of went off on that.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
My isms.
Just in case anyone was following along, like, wait, but how would you? I've been hanging on. What is your answer for that? Get some hands-on skills. Wherever you can. Try hack me. Let's like stock analyst. Let's defend. Blue Team Level 0. Or Blue Team Labs Online.
Blue Team
Level
1, I think.
That's their cert. They've also got missions where you can do like threat hunting or incident response and Blue Team Labs Online.
Oh, cool.
There's a free. Yeah. Josh over there has built out a really cool thing. I have interviewed him in the past podcast life. Man, like 2.5, 3 years ago. Feel old in cyber now.
You're fine. You're doing great. You're looking great for your cyber age.
That's because my real age is, KC7 Cyber is another great one. It's free, put together by some guys who are at Google doing threat hunting. JB, who I've interviewed for Simply Defensive, that's how he got his first job as a threat hunter at Google, was by participating in KC7 and being like the top person on their ranking boards and then building out stuff and networking through that.
That was KC, like King Charlie 7?
Yeah, Kilo Charlie 7.
Cool. Okay, awesome. I'll have to check that one out. I've actually never heard of that one. So
yeah, it's really freaking awesome. And there's more. Getting into CTFs. Go to ctftime.org. I was surprised when I talked to someone who's been in cyber for a while, who I've known for years. And they're like, hey, where did you find out about CTFs? I was like, CTF time. Like, that's where you find out if Meta's got a CTF or Purdue or Carnegie Mellon or all these tons of universities put on stuff regularly and it's free. And often they have videos and walkthroughs that go along with them. Pico CTF.
Yeah, Pico. I've done Picos.
Pico's got a gym where all of their old challenges are there and you can go through them. Arizona State, ASU has Cyber Ninjas and then, I mean, offensive, got like Pwn Labs and
Over Under the Wire.
Hack the Box, Over the Wire, Under the Wire. Those are great for learning PowerShell and Linux commands.
The list now, I feel like in the last 5 years is like massive.
Ridiculous.
It's like it's half the time, just like I said, it's just not knowing. It's like, I need to get into cyber. Like, oh, cool. What do you want to do? And then like
InfoSec Survival Guide from Black Hills. Jason and his team have put together like all the resources that I would recommend and more. And so I got any LinkedIn followers I have, or because I shared resources, like I just spewed off. But frankly, they have kept up with the latest stuff and gotten new inputs. And so I think they're on volume 3 of the InfoSec Survival Guide. You Google BHIS, Black Hills Information Security, InfoSec Survival Guide. You'll get one of the 3 versions as a PDF in Google as like your first couple things. And it's gold. It's a good starting point. Yeah.
Oh, sweet, man. Well, I got 2 last questions for you, then we'll wrap it up because I know we're kind of getting, I think, close to our hour mark. So first off, when you're not doing cyber, what do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do to unwind when the screens are off, the ones and zeros are all gone to bed? Yeah, what are you trying to do to kind of like just to kind of unwind and refresh?
That's when I get into consulting or nonprofits or
all the side hustles / other
all that stuff. I've got 2 dogs. I've got 2 daughters. We've got button quail that hatched a week ago downstairs in the basement.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I can hold all 9 of them in my hand. And they're like 3/4 of their full size. they stay tiny, which is wild. We used to have goats. Last year, the year before, my family and I did like 4-month road trips, living out of a travel trailer.
Cool.
Like basically, 200 square foot travel trailer for the 4 of us. And this last year with 2 dogs. They're adorable. They're awesome.
That's cool. There's the
Here.
Oh, sneak peek at the pups.
Come
Oh,
on.
yeah, I can do that with mine, but they're shepherd mixes, so they're just huge. So, but they still like to pretend they're lap dogs. Cracks me up.
This is my big one.
Aw, cutie patootie.
They're my daughter's dogs, but they hang out in here with me.
Nice. Yeah, Grandpa's the coolest, huh? It's nah, too cool, man.
Yeah. And then play video games.
What's the game of choice right now? I know you mentioned Assassin's Creed. Do you have a game of choice right now that you've been putting a lot of hours on that's unhealthy?
Black Friday, there was an Assassin's Creed like series deal, and I had played like the first 5, so up to like 3, which is technically much younger, and had a bunch of those bought. And then Unity was available. They made it free for folks right when Notre Dame like lit on fire.
Yeah.
So got into it, and then I saw a Black Friday deal where like you could get the whole series at like 90% off, and like it would just take what you already had and like the games that were there. And yeah, I think I got 6 more games or 7, no, like 8 more games for like $20.
Add it to the library. That's I look for seals. I'm like, oh, that's just going to the library. That will sit until I want to play it. So too cool.
So I just beat Odyssey last week. A couple months ago, I finished Origins. I did Black Flag, and
I really like Black Flag. That's like my favorite one, just because pirates, and I got to be a pirate on a ship. I'm like, arr.
Right. Oh, I beat Valhalla like a year ago. Then I kind of like took a break, and then I don't know. I'm enjoying them.
Good stuff, man. That's I also like to. I think Marvel Legends or Marvel Rivals for a bit. I have an unhealthy amount of hours in Baldur's Gate 3. Unhealthy. Yeah. I played that on pre-sale. I'm probably in like the 5K, 6K range of hours. Ooh, I've played it a lot. I've beaten the game like 4 times on 4 different story modes. So it is a blast. Wow. But awesome. Well, Josh, last but not least, first off, thank you so much for coming on the channel. So getting to come and kind of just share these fun little conversations and letting people get to hear kind of the different avenues of how everyone kind of breaks into the field and what we did that was successful, what other folks have done to be successful, what we've seen be successful, I think goes beyond words when it comes to folks looking for mentorship and looking for that words of affirmation of like, what's my next step? What should I do? Where should I go? So huge thank you. And as always, you're going to get some awesome Ginger Hacker swag for coming on the channel as a thank you. But then as your parting words or last words before leaving the channel, I ask this to everybody. What's the one piece of advice you'd give somebody that is trying to break into cyber?
Find quality people and spend time with them. More so than like join a community, like find 1 or 2 people who you can talk to about cyber, that you enjoy talking to about cyber, that you just enjoy talking to about life, and spend some time with them. The communities are great places to find that. I'll say going to conferences can be helpful for finding that. Just seeing if someone posts something on Reddit, like, hey, I'm trying to do a CTF. Anyone interested? Here's my Discord. Or finding folks on LinkedIn and who are going through similar stuff or posting about CTFs or about their training or at work or at your school or somewhere. Find some folks that you can talk to about cyber. Because it'll keep you motivated and it'll make you enjoy what you're doing. Being at home, listening, hearing all this stuff, participating in like CTFs and doing try hack me on your own, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. And like, you don't need to create a podcast. You don't need to become an influencer. but I do recommend find some folks we can talk to. And there's tons of great places. We can point you to some of them where, I don't know, you can just watch. You don't even have to participate in the community, but watch and see who's like got an energy that you like. And yeah, then start participating with them. You don't have to participate with everyone, but participate with people you think are cool. Just like I found Wade and Blake. I showed up to that volunteer group and I met Josh and like 20 amazing people. Friends with so many of them, but so close to the few that like, I don't know, we just hit up in a text later and bullshit about life. So yeah, it goes a long way.
No, and nail on the head. And I think getting a strong network and just finding those folks you can talk to is huge. So Josh, thank you so much for coming on the channel, and everyone for sticking around this long. Always, as always, please like, subscribe, drop a comment. What was your favorite part of this? Was it when I stuttered? Is it when I said something funny? Is it when I turned bright red? Or was it maybe a piece of information that Josh shared with you that you never heard before? So as always, everybody, thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next episode.